So, if you are somebody that is not going to get into one of these fancy jobs at these humongous, amazing Fortune 500 companies like me, unfortunately, that just was not my destiny. I got very average grades. I went to a very average college. I was not going to get this golden ticket to the fancy finance, hedge fund, private equity firms because unfortunately I studied finance and that was not going to be my future. So, when I mention a job with low barriers to entry, that is a good place for you to start because you can't enter those jobs with a high barrier to entry. Like I said, this prestigious jobs or jobs like a medical doctor. I'm not going to go to medical school. I'm not going to go become a lawyer. I'm not going to go do those things. So those are jobs with high barriers to entry. I don't qualify. I don't want to spend the money, the time, the effort. So what's left for me? Well, I want to find a job with a low barrier to entry, but is also simultaneously really hard to succeed at. So let me repeat that. You want to find a job that has low barrier to entry, as in it's easy to get into the field, but it's hard to do well in the field. That's the sweet spot, okay? Because let's say waitress. I spent my whole life being waitress. I was waitressing since I was 14 years old. That is a job with a low barrier to entry, but it's not hard to be a good waitress. It's just not rocket science, okay? I'm sorry. It's not a really complicated job. You just have to have the physical capability to basically run around and clean and do things very quickly and hopefully remember a couple things about a customer. So it's not really that hard. Same with bartending. It's not rocket science to remember a few drinks. It's not that hard. I mean, yes, it's stressful. That's a different conversation. It's hard work. I never said it wasn't. And it's not an unrespectable job. I'm not saying it's not. But the point here that I'm trying to make is that if you want to make a lot of money and you're prioritizing money, you have to find a job that is easy to get into, but hard to rise to the top. So guess what that is? Sales. Sales is easy to get into. Graduates are constantly being scoped out for sales jobs, but it's really hard to survive. It's really hard to succeed at it. So that's my sweet spot. That's where I found my beginning start. That is so-called first bucket of gold, as my dad likes to call it. So the first bucket of gold that I did was an easy job to get into, but a terrible job to survive in because the failure rate is like 70 to 80%. And that is why to this day, I'm still in the field as a headhunter. So headhunter is a sales job. It is a subset, is it a niche? It is a niche of sales. And that's my suggestion to you. If you really want to make the big bucks, you got to find a job that's easy to get into, but very hard to succeed at. That's what you got to think about.